from the beginning.
And I was shown that that Lucifer would return, that the UN and the Vatican were going to be completely behind it, again, under false pretenses. He's going to show up and say, I'm here to save the day, right? And, okay, fine, you know.
Yeah, of course,
ahead,
you can say whatever you want. But I've always hated censorship. It's the internet.
Sometimes, you know, once they get you for your first love bite, well, it depends on how aware you are, right?
I forgot my bullets. I never had a gun. Here I am left standing. Am I the only one? For what I see, memories have guilted me. I'll never see the sun.
First of all, as you know, the Anunnaki and the Draco are entities. Second of all, underneath Baghdad was a stargate that was created by the Anunnaki so that they could transfer from Jupiter to the Earth.
I'll never see the sun. I could just end it all, but the demons will have won.
Practitioners that, you know, some are good and some use their magic for good and to heal and to help, and others do use it for evil. And, you know, in some cases, you know, people really were.
This is too much sometimes.
From the broken ruins of Babylon, this is End of Days Radio. I am your host, Daniel, coming at you all the way from the shimmering Emerald City, right here in the heart of the Pacific Northwest. Sorry. How are you doing, everybody? How are you? Have you risen? Are you feeling spry? Are you feeling bright and bushy-tailed like a cute little squirrel? It's me, it's the DA and the All-American Man, and I am coming at you this January 24th, 2008. I know. Daniel, where have you been? Where have you been? Why have you not been doing 2 shows a week like you promised? Why are you letting us down? What is wrong? I know. I'm sorry, everybody. I had some stuff happen at work. Nope, it's not gang stalking this time. It's not harassment of any type. It's not the government. It's just my job and having to work overtime. And I just haven't been able to do it. Trust me when I say that my dream would be to be able to just do this show every day and put on a show every day and somehow get paid for it some way. I've always said this show will be ad free and I'll never charge any sort of rate or anything like that. But if we could get some sponsors that could help with that and I could pay you guys back for having to listen to ads by actually doing the show every day, I don't think that would be that bad. But for now, I am going to have to continue working my day job. I'm not a loser. I have a career. I like my job. But you know what I like even better? I like doing this show. And if I had to drop everything to continue this mission and put forth 10 times the amount of effort, I would definitely will. But until then, I'm going to double, triple promise you guys to make 10 times the effort to really put this show on twice a week, like I promised. I'm going to have my overtime cut back soon, so I might actually be able to make that happen. along with hopefully getting back into some martial arts classes or some kind of social thing instead of just work. But y'all don't want to hear that, do ya? Let's get to the itty gritty. Today's guest, by the way, stay tuned after the break. We have lots to talk about. And remember to go to endofdaysradio.com. Today's guest is local comedian. His name is Kofi. I'm not going to say his last name because I'm not sure if he wanted to share that. But I will ask him when he comes on. This person is a local talent. And as some of you already know, we are doing something very, very different. We are actually going to be doing a comedy month on End of Days Radio. That's right. You heard it. A comedy month. I haven't announced this yet, have I? Or did I? I think I did on Twitter. So I have announced it. But as you guys know, this is a paranormal, supernatural show about ghosts and goblins and aliens that probe you with their icy cold machines. Things like that, right? Reptilians, psychic powers, Freemasonry, Donald Trump, all the supernatural sort of paranormal things out there, right? And I do have an interesting email about Donald Trump, by the way, but I'll read that after the break. Throw a little teaser out there. But enough yakety yakking. Let's get our guest on here. This is exciting. This is Comedy Month on End of Days Radio. We did a Magic Month, but we're going to do something different. A little less negative. A little more positive. We're going to have a Comedy Month. And this way, we can get our minds off of the Armageddon and the apocalypse and the end of days and the revelations and all of that sort of stuff, and we can have a good time like we're supposed to. So I'm going to go ahead and call my guest this evening. Stay tuned. This is never before been done on End of Days Radio, and there's reasons for that, but I'm not going to get into that. It had to do with the way that this show was set up before and certain creative restrictions, but now I can do whatever I want, so let's do whatever I want.
Hello.
Hello, is this Kofi?
Yeah, that's me.
How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Now,
are we starting?
Oh yeah, we are live. You are in front of the entire world, the millions and millions out there.
Oh god, I forgot to take my medicine. I don't know if I can do this, man.
Thousands and thousands, not millions, thousands.
Let's take it down to hundreds, and then I'll feel more comfortable.
Okay.
Let's just say we're just having a candid conversation. No one's listening.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, when I first started doing this, I could barely even keep the airtime going at all. Like, it was just very spotty, and it's just, you get so used to it. The next thing you know, that you don't even care, and you think that all of your stupid opinions are gold.
I've also had a podcast too, so I totally understand what you're talking about.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I want to get into that a little bit.
You don't need to know anything about that. That podcast was garbage.
It was garbage, you said?
Oh god, yeah. I think we ran for like 11 episodes, and then just like slowly it just died.
11 episodes, that's not too bad. That's 10 more than a lot of people get.
That is true. How long have you just been going?
Oh, so long at this point. Since 2012, so about 6 years.
Damn, dedication, man.
Yeah. The whole idea was I was going to wake up the whole world to the whole paranormal and supernatural thing, but 6 years later, still working on it.
Wait, okay, so this is a paranormal podcast? Okay, so I have no clue anything about this.
No, it's all good.
Like, your sister hit me up and was just like, "Will you do my brother's podcast?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll fuck with that." But paranormal shit, like, do you fuck with lizard people?
We do cover the lizard people topic quite in depth. And you're right. You're totally right. This show is a paranormal / supernatural / ghosts and goblins, hauntings, demons, all kinds of crazy out there paranormal beyond the realms of man fringe shit. But the thing is, 6 years later, I've done it all. I've talked to them all. I've talked to all the big shot authors and people like that. And after a while, you have to keep going back to the same people, and it gets kind of boring, I think. And it's always so negative. It's about negative this and that. I figured, why not stop having it be all about that, and why not just expand and open it up to anything? And I had this idea of, why not talk to some local comedians and some local talent and bring them on and maybe help give them some exposure, and also maybe help brighten up the show a little bit with something different.
Respect. All right.
Hell yeah. But enough about my sorry ass. Let's talk about you, Kofi. Let's hear about, who are you? Tell us.
Who am I? I'm a grown-ass man with a fucking job. And I'm sorry, I'm laying on the floor in my bedroom right now. On my wife's side for some reason, not on my side. So you're learning a lot about me, right? This is important information. Laying on the floor. Haven't done comedy in a minute. But I used to run a comedy show, help run a comedy show in Olympia for about a year.
Kofi, you're fading in and out. Your signal is kind of breaking up. Is there some way you could maybe move to another location, or?
Is this better?
Yeah. Last thing we heard was you haven't done a comedy in a while. Yeah,
I've done comedy. Oh man. Like a few months now. Just been like really burnt out on everything lately. It's I know you want to keep it like positive, but just been burnt out creatively lately. So just haven't really gotten to do anything except for like music right now.
Oh no, this is interesting. So along with the ups, there are the downs, and you say burnt out. What can you describe how things got to this state?
I've been thinking about it like this. Like, I feel like I'm getting older. There's like just less things that I'm like getting joy out of. And I've just decided, like, for a little bit, I was just like having a really hard time, like, writing jokes and stuff. I was just like, maybe I've just like hit my post-fun life, where just like, you no longer enjoy anything anymore. Maybe that's not actually a stage in anyone's life, but right now it feels like that for me. So it's just like, when I do try and work on comedy, like nothing really comes out. But like, I like improvising on stage more than like writing. But I'm also like in this weird place where I'm just like not very social. So I'm not going out and like going on stage and being comfortable anymore. So then like the longer that I'm not doing that, the more I'm deterred from going, because I'm like, I haven't done this in a while. And it's like feeding into itself, you know?
Do you think maybe you're finding that you get more of a more fulfillment from music?
Yeah, but like even music's few and far between right now. Like, I don't have like a place to practice really. And then like when I'm not practicing, like in a band, then I just like have no motivation to practice by myself. And then I really miss writing, and I play bass. So, like when I had a guitar, I would be able to write, but like I don't like to write on bass. So it just kind of sits there until someone asks me to like play in a band. And like right now I'm in this experimental band with two bassists, a saxophone player, and then like a rotating group of people that come in and out. So that's been really fun. But other than that, like when that's not happening, I'm just like not doing anything creative and just kind of sulking. I'm looking for a job.
This is interesting because we all have this idea that creative people, they tend to have like somebody like Kurt Cobain, for example, somebody that lives in the Washington area. Obviously, I'm sure you're familiar with him, but a lot of creativity seems to kind of come from a dark place, does it not?
I feel like I don't know. I think a lot of people think that, and I think a lot of people are genuinely like motivated by like their dark times to be more creative, but I think that's just a sexier thing to like promote. I think there's a lot of people that when they're in a like when they're in like in a shitty life position have a harder time creating things, and I feel like that's where I'm at. Just like not really motivated to do extra like creative things because just like not in a good mood like ever. And just lately. Let's call it lately, not ever.
No, I totally get it. We all have our ups and downs. Certainly, I can't think of anybody that's happy all of the time. I don't think life would be really what it is if you didn't have to go into the dark night of the soul, so to speak.
Dark Night of the Soul. Was Dark Night of the Soul a movie?
It probably was, but I know the phrase goes back much further.
Oh. I don't think I've ever heard that phrase, but respect.
Now, we know that right now things are a certain way, but let's go back to the past. Let's rewind a bit. Where did this all start? Are you native to Washington? Did your parents move from somewhere else? Could you give us some details, perhaps, on your earlier childhood?
Yeah, my parents are both from Ghana. They immigrated here. My dad came here for college. Then my mom came like after he was done. I had my sister in '89. I was born in '90. Shout out to all the '90s kids. And I was born in Seattle, and then we moved to like Wenatchee, small town in eastern Washington. Have you been to Washington? Are you from Washington?
Oh yeah, I've lived in Washington my whole life.
Oh, okay. Your phone number came up as a California phone number, so I was like, oh shit, he's calling from Cali.
That's my Skype line, but that's funny.
Oh, word. So I lived in Wenatchee for a while, and then my parents sent us over to Ghana for a year and a half. And like forever, I was just like, I don't understand why they sent us over there. Like, we lived with our family and stuff, but I just like, for some reason, thought they just like didn't like us and sent us away for a little bit.
Oh God.
So I lived there for like a year and a half. Came back to Wenatchee. For some reason, I thought I was gonna grow up in Wenatchee and become a cop. I don't understand why, but like I told my mom that like when we were moving, I was just like, I'm gonna move back to Wenatchee. I'm gonna become a cop. I don't understand what was wrong with like 8-year-old me, but he had some weird goals, weird boring ass goals.
Were you watching some TV shows with police officers, or was there a certain inspiration there?
No, I think I just really liked Wenatchee, because like when I was in Ghana, I was like sick most of the time, and then when I moved back, I was like not as sick anymore. So I think I just was like, oh yeah, this place is the best place because I mostly only know this place. And then this was like around the time that we moved to Olympia. And yeah, I think I was just like homesick, and the only jobs that I knew at 8 were like cop and firefighter. So I was just like boring and unimaginative child that wanted to move back to a small town in eastern Washington.
So you're sitting there and you're just living your life, and then one day out of the blue, your parents turn to you and they say, Kofi, you're going to Ghana.
Oh, I don't even remember that because I was really young when I moved to Ghana. I was like 2, like when we left, and then like 3.5 when I came back, almost 4.
Do you
So
remember?
it's just like I just recognized that I was no longer with my parents at some point, and then like a
Oh,
while
God.
after I accepted that, they eventually came and picked us back up.
Oh my, yeah. That is. Was that traumatizing?
I don't know. I should probably talk to someone about that. I mean, I guess I'm talking to you about that. Would you like to analyze that for me? Like, do you think I have trust issues from that?
I don't know. I probably shouldn't. I might just like make you worse. Okay,
Yeah, but I've
so
been.
have you ever thought about going back there as an adult?
I've gone back. After that, I've gone back a couple of times when I was 13, and when I was I've gone back 3 times, but I can't remember the ages for them. But the last time I went was in 2011, and yeah, it was not the best situation to go back because I was going back for my grandma's funeral, but it was a better experience because I got to experience it as an adult, got to like actually go around and like see family members that I don't get to see very often and actually have memories with them and like explore. And I was mostly drunk the entire time, just drinking Guinness. But yeah, I've been back a few times.
What are your thoughts on the differences between America and Ghana?
Ghana's corruption is more straightforward. Like they don't lie to you about being corrupt, and that I kind of respect that.
Unlike here.
Yeah, like here they'll try and make it. They'll try and convince you that they're doing something good for you. In Ghana, they'll just be like, "Yeah, I took that money. I don't know what you're gonna do about it."
So it's like corrupt politicians?
I mean, everywhere has corrupt politicians.
Is there violence there?
Not really. Not super violent or anything. Yeah, I think Ghana's actually like doing really good. We were like, when was Ghana independence? Ghana became independent like, oh my God, I'm shitty and I don't know my history, but it's within the past like 60 years, maybe a little less than that. And there's been times of like shitty destabilization, but like I think from what I know, on an upswing.
Well, what do you think of somebody like Donald Trump?
I think he's a garbage monster. That I just don't understand anyone that's like on his side anymore. Like we've gone so deep into his bullshit that like I can't even sympathize with anyone that wants to switch sides now because they're not switching sides for any real reason, you know? Like, they're just like, oh, now no, not enough people fuck with this? Okay, I guess I'm just gonna hide my bullshit for a while now. I don't know, he's just, like, brought out a lot of, like, garbage in people's souls. He's a soul garbage man. I don't know. He bums me out to think about. He's, like, really set the bar low on what it means to be like in power, and it just bums me out that he's president.
How do you suppose he got elected?
I'm guessing that it's the lizard people. Is it the lizard people?
Maybe.
I think ignorance, people being fed up with their perceived idea of not being heard, and discomfort like with the status quo recognizing that just throwing someone in there that's going to blow up the system doesn't mean better. Like, just because he's someone that's willing to do bullshit things and say bullshit things doesn't mean that that's better than, like, moderately switching over to, like, I don't know, like, progressing in a, like, more moderate way. I don't know. Like, moderation isn't necessarily popular right now either. Like, people want to go super far left or super far right, but I would have been chill with someone just being like, okay, some more of the same bullshit, but at least we look like adults all together.
Do you feel that your political leanings are more to the left or more to the right?
Obviously to the right. Come on. To the left.
So you're probably pro-abortion and pro all kinds of things?
Pro-choice. I don't... People like to say pro-abortion as if, like, that's not the point. Is the point being, like, pro the choice to do what is feels right for you at the time with your body, you know?
Yeah,
I don't like
I have to agree with that.
To have abortion in it, because it just, like, assumes that, like, abortion's for all, like, with no, I don't know.
Hey, have you seen that movie, The Cider House Rules?
I've never seen Cider House Rules.
That's
the title makes it sound like it's exciting, but it's really dark, right?
It's pretty much the movie that turned me on to abortion and made me believe that it was okay.
Oh, weird.
What did you think of President Obama?
I liked Obama, but I feel like also during Obama's time, I was like, even now, I'm like not really good at like following politics as closely as I should, but like during that time, I was definitely like not paying attention that well. I know that his track record isn't stellar. I know that he like deported a lot of people. I know that about drone strikes and shit. But at least he was a fucking adult. Like he's not perfect, but I think he's the best president that I've lived through.
What was it about Obama that what inspired you about him?
He had a hopeful message of unity and change in like a progressive way, and I felt like he was like the first person I voted for too. So I was like 18, and I was just like, oh, that's dope. Like he's just out here trying to make things better for everyone. Like he just wants like people to be happy. So I don't know. I guess that I'm really shitty at talking about politics. I mostly am just like, yeah, that shit was terrible. That shit was good.
No, I actually thought that sounded...
With no details.
That sounded pretty smart, what you were saying a moment ago.
Oh, thank you. You're flattering me.
No, I'm serious. Well, I was just hoping to get a real answer from you, and you answered in a real way, and it sounded pretty intelligent to me.
Oh. Well, I'll try not to put myself down now.
No, you shouldn't.
But yeah, what way do you lean? Are you like lefty, righty?
I ride the fence.
Yeah. Wait, okay, so how do you feel about Trump then?
At first I kind of did buy into the Make America Great Again stuff, and
really?
Well, it seemed like he was kind of for the conspiracy sort of people, and I guess I kind of bought into that. But when I see like some of the big moves he makes on a world stage, it starts to become pretty obvious to me that he's paid off.
Paid off by who?
Higher powers such as super rich people.
Wait, okay, this is the thing that I've always been interested. What what the fuck is the like story behind the like Rothschild like conspiracy theories? I've never really like delved into it at all, and I want someone to explain it like shorthand for me, like to figure out what the fuck, like, are they supposed to be like controlling everything?
Pretty much, there's a super rich family that has controlled a vast majority of the world's wealth for thousands of years, or at least hundreds, and they all seem to have this agenda to start wars and then have the countries fight each other, and then they buy up all the land and the spoils of war after it's all said and done, and they keep this cycle going. And they also control the banking system of the world because they basically own the banks. So they use the world's interest scheme to benefit themselves and kind of feed off all of us poor people. I hope that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. For some reason, I thought I'm just really into the lizard people thing. I thought that like part of it was like combined with the lizard people thing, and I just wanted to listen to people talk about lizard people.
The theory there is that these super rich families, they breed amongst themselves. They're very into interbreeding. And the reason for this is because they're passing on a specific genetic heritage. And some would allege that this is an alien heritage and that the gods of ancient times were demigods and half alien, and the kings of old, went through the generations, and those are still the super rich people today, and they still interbreed and they still control all the world's wealth. It's a pretty out there theory, and some people think that the lizard people thing is actually just to kind of throw everybody off.
Yeah. Huh. Okay.
Yeah, you're going down a very deep rabbit hole.
I want to go deeper into the rabbit hole, but I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm like interested in it, and then when I hear the like theories, it dives for me. I'm just like, oh, okay, never mind. This sounds like crazy people talking.
That's very possible.
Yeah. But, like, there's true conspiracies in the world. Like, fucking, I don't know. I can't come up with one off the top of my head. But, people conspire to do bullshit things all the time.
Yeah, like, a lot of people think that 9/11 was one of those.
Yeah, I remember all that loose change bullshit. Yeah. Wait, how do you feel about that? Was 9/11 an inside job?
I've heard all the theories. I think that there's definitely they at least knew it was going to happen and didn't try to stop it.
See, I fuck with that. I can believe that. But like the theories get wild. So like, oh, the president like decided that this is like what he wanted to do at the beginning of his like thing, so that he could start a war in the Middle East. It seemed more like an opportunist thing. They saw that like this was coming. They knew that like the ramifications would allow people that in the wake of an attack, like that would allow them to be able to start a war for oil. That makes more sense to me than like actively trying to like plan and do this thing.
When you do your comedy, do you ever do like, how some comics will do like almost a political type of thing mixed in?
No, I don't really do political stuff. I've tried, but then I just get annoyed. Like, I tried to do comedy like on election day, and I was just in too bad of a mood, and I started off like trying to talk about just how mad I was at like more than half of the country for voting for, not more than half of the country, actually less than half of the country, for somehow electing like Donald Trump. And then it just turned into me kind of yelling and then I tried to do like pivot into other stuff, and then I just left the stage.
Oh wow. Is that on YouTube?
So I don't do I don't do political comedy very well.
I think that's great. I mean, if you got that fired up.
Yeah, but it doesn't really help in the context of trying to make people laugh if you're just annoyed with like no like comedic thing behind it.
That makes sense because I always thought that the comedians that were more politically orientated, I always felt like I didn't really laugh. Like it made me think, but I wouldn't really laugh.
Yeah, I feel like that is kind of the hard thing about political comedy. Sometimes it is just very much like, oh, I'm more sitting through a lecture than I am like getting any sort of humor out of it. But there's people that are like fucking Lewis Black does political comedy, that's good. And that's all of my examples. Man, I'm shitty at examples today. I'll live without being able to bring up examples of things.
Well, this is interesting. I do want to ask you, when you were growing up, were there any comedians that you might have looked up to that kind of inspired you?
The first special that like I remember listening to, oh my God, Strategic Grills by Mitch Hedberg for the first time in middle school, and just like it made me like almost throw up laughing. And like I watched a lot of like Comedy Central, so there was like so many like half-hour specials and like God, what was the fucking Comedy Central one where they would just like break up? It would be like a bunch of different comics, and they'd break it up by like different bits that they were doing, and like they would kind of have themes to them. I can't remember what it's called, but I would watch a lot of comedy when I was growing up. But Mitch Hedberg was definitely one of the comics that made me like, how the fuck do you do this? This is amazing. But and like when I started, I don't channel anything from like Mitch Hedberg at all. He was like more one-liners, and I still don't understand how to write one-liners very well. Like I admire people that can do one-liners. I just like to ramble.
Where does that whole thing even come from, where somebody's able to write and do that? Is it just, are you born with it?
Man, just, I don't know, like observing, making connections, like not even, it doesn't even have to come through observation, just like thinking and making connections that are like absurd or true in a way that like people like don't think about very well. Setting up expectations and then shifting people's perspectives. Like, I don't know, like, I think people can learn to be funny, but like you have to want to be funny. I don't know if there's anything like inherent about like being a funny person, because plenty of funny people, like, and especially like comedic performers, are like funny on stage, and then you like spend time with them and they're the most boring person, like me. Like when I'm not on stage and I'm at like home, I'm the most boring person in the world.
When you were a kid, were you always trying to be class clown?
Kind of. I had a lot of energy. I had a lot more energy, and I was very annoying, and I very attention seeking. I don't know. Like I wasn't like an interrupter or anything, but like when I found opportunities to make people laugh, I'd try and make people laugh as much as possible. It's like just the easiest way to get people to be friends with you and be on your side, you know? Like if you can make people laugh, then like they'll want to be around you.
Were either of your parents funny?
They probably are. in Twi or Ga, but I don't speak those languages.
And Kofi, how old are you?
I'm 27.
Nice.
Yeah, I feel old. I don't know. Like, I know 27 is not old. I'm just like, my body just doesn't want to work as well as it used to. I'm just like tired all the time. I shouldn't be tired all the time at 27.
Yeah, I've had similar thoughts where I remember when I was young, I felt like I was Superman and I was almost like superhumanly athletic, and then I hit 30 and then it was like I struggled to walk or get up.
I use this walker every day now. Yeah. I feel like I should like also it's really discouraging because like I feel like I should be farther along in so many things, even though like again 27 is not old, like a lot of, but like with with comedy and music, like I feel like I don't put enough time into them, so I feel like I'm way farther behind than I would be if I just like really gone hard like younger, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to kind of live a little and then get older and realize you're mortal.
Yeah, true.
Now, we know you were a class clown, but did you ever get into trouble?
First year of middle school, I got kicked out of one of my classes, and that's actually how I met like my middle school friend. But I don't remember why. I feel like I have no clue. But there were a lot of weird incidents of just like, I love a chant. I love getting like a lot of people to chant. And I remember like getting in trouble on the bus because me and my friend like got the entire bus to start doing. Oh God, I don't even remember what it was. We were like singing just one part of this song over and over again. But I got the whole bus to do it, and it was very tight. And I used to like get interrupt French class to get people to sing Bohemian Rhapsody, and yeah, like I didn't get in trouble much, but I was very annoying. Man, God damn, I was annoying as fuck.
So you knew how far to push it.
Yeah, I guess.
And at what point did you realize, hey, this is something that I actually might want to try? I mean, I can only imagine how it must have felt working up the testicles to actually get on stage and try this.
Yeah, I'm actually like I have really, really bad stage fright, which is weird because I've been performing, like I've been playing music since I was like 16, 17. And I started doing comedy like 3 years ago. But like my stage fright has only gotten worse. And actually now like I got prescribed like this like beta blocker so that I can go on stage without feeling like I'm going to pass out, which is pretty choice. And I've only gotten like the opportunity to use it a couple times. But with comedy, I didn't know that there was like a local scene or anything until like the past 4 years. And I just like heard about it, met a couple people that like did stand up, and then I was like, oh, I could just do this, like, and then I just like kind of, me and my friends talked each other into doing it together, and then like the first time that I did it, I just like ended up telling this 20-minute rambling story. I think about it was either like a story about like a date that went like really shitty, or the time that I cut my dick on a magnet, like one of those things.
Oh my God.
And then after that, I was just like, oh shit, I'm really pumped on this. I like didn't go super hard on comedy, like immediately, but I was like going to the same open mic for a while, and then there was a couple other open mics that started, and I've mostly just been doing like Olympia open mics and stuff. I'm trying to get back on stage.
What's this thing about the magnet?
It's a very long story. I was a very strange child. Oh god, dude. I put. It's probably best that we don't discuss.
Oh,
the
come
whole
on!
thing.
Okay.
It just leads to way too much bullshit.
So you're playing with this magnet and somehow your dick got cut.
Yes.
You want to fill in any of the details there?
I don't know why I'm embarrassed about this because I've told this story multiple times. I'll just give you an abridged version of it. I broke my Game Boy in half. There's like a very powerful magnet in it.
Okay.
And I played with that magnet for a while, and then somehow I broke it in half. I don't know if it was a Game Boy or not, but it was this random fucking magnet, and I was had it around for a while. It broke in half into two jagged pieces, and it just sat in my room for a while. And then one day I was like, I wonder if I could put one piece of the magnet on top of my dick and the other piece of the magnet on the bottom of my dick, and the bottom one sticks. So I tried it, and
God.
it worked until it didn't work.
Oh,
and then
shit.
one side flipped to the other side, and then they snapped together and caught my skin right under the head. And then I was just I'm in my room, just dick out, parents in the living room. I don't know what the fuck to do. I can't just scream in pain. I can't explain this shit. So I just very quietly scream into my own mouth while I'm trying to separate these pieces of magnet. And it's just I'm thinking about it and it hurts.
Oh God.
So I separate the magnets from each other. It was the two jagged parts that came together to pinch my dick. So I rip it off because that's
This
the
is
only
from
way that
a
I
Game
could do
Boy.
it. What's that?
These magnets are from a Game Boy.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it was a Game Boy or some sort of computer thing.
Oh my God. It's you ripped open a Game Boy and there's these freaking... Who would have even thought that there are these powerful magnets inside of there?
Hey, your boy gets freaky. Yeah, I don't the point wasn't to get a magnet. I just broke apart a Game Boy and it was an old school Game Boy too. I should have kept that shit. I would be able to sell it for $300 now. That's the disappointing part about this story. I should have kept that old Game Boy, and then I'd be able to sell it right now and be able to make $300. And I hate my young self for that. And I was punished by having my dick cut by a magnet, and then learning later that I'm allergic to Neosporin through that.
Oh my God.
But yeah, that story. I don't know how it took me 20 minutes to tell the story originally, because there's a lot of random details to it. Because the whole point is I found out I was allergic to Neosporin the hard way.
It sounds are you a gamer?
No. I think I was probably I was 14 at the time.
So no video games at all?
So I was just 14. Just being a weird 14-year-old. No, man, I play Angry Birds. I don't know.
You didn't play Nintendo or PlayStation?
No, I had a 64 for a while, but I only had those basic ass games. I had Super Mario. What's the fighting one? Super Mario.
Smash Brothers?
Smash Brothers, yeah. Yeah, like Smash Brothers and like Mario Kart and shit like that. And then at some point I had like a PlayStation for a while, but like video games never like sucked me in other than like Pokemon when I was younger.
Now, Kofi, have you ever done any drugs in your life?
If any future employers are listening to this, no, I've never done a single drug. I can pass a drug test right now. If any future employers are listening, yes, I've done so many drugs. Not so many, but I haven't. I feel put on the spot. I feel like you're a cop, and this whole thing was a fucking sting.
No. We're anti all of that.
I don't know how much to talk about this because I feel like my parents will end up like somehow finding this, or someone that knows my parents will find this. So no, I've never done drugs except for marijuana because I know that you would know that, Mom.
Okay, fair enough. Now, this whole musical side, Kofi, I want to hear more about this. I understand you play the bass guitar.
Yes.
And
And I tried to... What's that?
Oh, go ahead.
And I tried to play trumpet for a while, but that didn't work out. It's really hard to learn trumpet. That's what I found out. So I gave up very quickly.
And what bands or musical talents influenced you to want to play the bass?
I wanted to play bass because my friend's band, they were saying that they might kick out their bassist. And I already wanted to learn a musical instrument, so I was like, oh, I could be in that band if I got a bass. And then when I was 13 and I was in Ghana, I like talked my parents into buying me a bass for my birthday, and I've been playing ever since. I kind of regret it because I feel like I should have gotten a guitar because that would have opened up more doors. But you know, bass is great too. Bass is underrated.
Yeah, for sure. We're a very musical related podcast as well, and I play the guitar, and my buddy Todd, he plays the guitar and sings, and he did the intro for the show, and we're actually premiering our new musical outro by Todd tonight on this show as our outro. So it's really exciting.
Very chill.
Yeah, exactly. It's the show that you are on that we're debuting this, so the timing is excellent.
Hey, I feel special, man. Thank you.
And what's so nice about playing bass is that it seems to me like a lot of people play guitar and everybody's always looking for a bass player.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like you constantly see it on Craigslist and places like that. We need a bass player.
Yeah. And then, oh god, finding a fucking drummer is the worst. Like, cause especially like, if a drummer's good, they're gonna get sucked into every like project at once, and that's kind of a bummer.
Do you like Tool?
I don't really know if I like Tool. I've been saying that I don't like Tool for so long, and then I was asked that like recently, and I was just like, you know, I haven't listened to Tool since middle school, so I have to like re-listen to figure it out. But like Tool is also soured by me because like people that I grew up going to school with that like Tool were fucking assholes.
Oh god.
It's like, so I just associate Tool with like people that are the fucking worst. I'm not gonna go associating Tool with tools, but yeah, people that are the fucking worst.
How about Michael Jackson?
Apparently I was really into Michael Jackson when I was a kid and wanted to be him.
Do you have any favorite female comedians?
Oh my god, Kate Berlant is one of the best comics right now. Have you heard of her at all?
No.
Oh god, I don't feel like there's any. Well, I don't know. Have you seen there's a Netflix special called Characters, and she has a half hour. It's like 8 to 10, I think it's 8 or 10 different comedic people doing, and they're given a half an hour to do whatever they want. So they just produce an hour of content using characters that they've used in like whatever comedic thing they're doing. So it's like, yeah, people from improv, people from stand-up, shit like that. So Kate Bryant has an episode on there, and I feel like that's a really good introduction to her. But like, if you get the chance to see her live, she is one of the weirdest performers, and I love it.
Are you familiar with the whole Dave Chappelle thing?
Like the new special?
The whole thing where he had the breakdown.
Kind of transphobic and shit.
Oh, I didn't know about that, but I was referring to that whole thing where he had the show and he just dropped the whole thing and went to go live in Africa.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, I know that stuff. I, like, very much respect his decision. Because all he did was, like, deny people from, like, forcing him to continue a project that he didn't want to do. Like, the project was not going the direction that he wanted to. People were throwing money at him to continue doing it. And he was just like, no, you don't own me, and then left. Like, I don't know why people think he's crazy for that. Like, just because he turned down $50 million, he's already fucking rich. Like,
oh, that's true.
People just assume that you're supposed to always want more and more and more. And, like, I think that was a really good example of, like, someone just being like, I have enough, and I don't want to be, like, on the hook for, like, something just because someone paid me a large amount of money. I'm going to go and do whatever I want. And he's still doing shit on his terms. I don't know about the new specials and everything, but, like, I do respect his decisions as an artist to just be like, I have enough money. I don't really care, like, to continue with this.
It sounds like he's doing pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, 4 specials in, like, the past, year?
Would you ever want to go on a sketch-based comedy show like Saturday Night Live or Mad TV or something like that?
Oh, man. I feel like I would love to do that, but I feel like I'd be terrible at it. Like, I really want to get into, like, improv because I feel like that's more aligned with my comedic voice because I like spontaneity and I like the ethereal nature of improv. And just the fact that it's like a group trying to get in sync with each other, I, like, really love that. And with sketch, it, like, takes away the, like, the fluidity and, like, etherealness and makes it more rigid. And I feel like I'd just be too worried about, like, nailing these lines and, like, hitting marks and stuff to be, like, funny in that context. But maybe I'm just not funny ever. Like, that's what I've been fucking having a hard time with. I'm just like, maybe I'm just, like, not actually funny. And I just, comedy's hard, man. It makes just really question a lot of things about yourself sometimes.
Yeah, I could see how that would be. I'm sure that's what everybody really fears because it's so hard to go up there and be underneath the spotlight, and you probably feel like you're under a microscope.
Yeah. And, like, going up on stage, you're essentially saying, yeah, I'm funnier than all of you guys, so shut up and listen to me for a while.
Would the ultimate goal to be be in movies like an Adam Sandler or somebody like that? Would the ultimate goal to be at that level?
The ultimate goal is to, I don't know, like, be able to perform at a level that I feel is, like, that I'm proud of, you know? Like, I feel like
Hello?
I was probably rambling about comedy to myself for a while.
Oh no, yeah, somehow the connection dropped.
Well, I said a lot of profound shit.
Oh my god, can you repeat it? Is there a connection breaking up again?
I think so. Oh, I hear you now.
Oh, nice.
Hello?
So it sounds like your ultimate goal is to create some kind of a way to express yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, like, yeah, I don't understand necessarily why the goal always has to be, like, fame, you know? Like, I don't crave that type of attention. I just want to be able to do and make things and, like, be happy with what I made. Or, like, happy with the time that I spent, like, performing there. Yeah.
Oh, it's so hard to hear you. You're just kind of fading in and out. Can you hear me?
Oh, man. I'm so sorry. I think there's nowhere else that has better reception at my house.
Okay, no problem. I think it's actually clearing up a little bit. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, you're coming in pretty clear now.
Okay. I've been pacing, so I'll just stay in this one spot.
Do you have any favorite funny movies?
I used to say basketball, but now I haven't seen basketball in so long, and I feel like it probably doesn't hold up in any way. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to like pick a favorite movie of any genre, or favorite of any like thing. You know? Especially for movies, for me, I rewatch things, so it's like I remember whether or not I liked something. I don't necessarily remember every part about it, so I can't be like, oh yeah, that's my favorite. But I fucking love Frasier, and I'll rewatch that shit every day.
I'm sorry. What did you say? Did you say Frasier?
Yes.
I love Frasier. That's a great show.
Yeah, and I'm really like happy that like a lot of people are like into Frasier right now.
Yeah, I saw that it's like if you get that Amazon Prime, you can watch any Frasier from any season anytime you want on any device.
Hell yeah. It's on Amazon too. It's been on Amazon for a while, I think.
Yeah.
No, not Amazon. I meant, yeah.
I think Frasier is one of the exceptions. It's actually a spin-off show that is better than the original. It's better than Cheers.
Oh, damn. Say that too loud. You might get people, like, coming after you.
Oh, I'm going to get all the Cheers fans all riled up.
Yeah, all these Cheers heads. Yeah.
Where everybody knows your name.
Cheers.
Yeah, Cheers was a good show too. It wasn't for everybody. It took place inside of a bar, but a lot of people love it.
Respect. Yeah, I feel like that's a show that like if I gave it a chance I would really like. But it's like it's I don't think it's like if you watch Frasier you'll like Cheers. I feel like they made a wholly different thing. And I really like that. So maybe I'll give Cheers a chance at some point.
What other sitcoms or shows have you liked? Like comedy type orientated stuff?
Happy Endings was really dope. Did you ever see that?
No.
Oh, it was like Casey Wilson, Damon Wayans Jr. and that's actually what Damon Wayans Jr. That's why he left New Girl, and then subsequently came back to New Girl after Happy Endings ended, and just like dope cast of just like quick, witty people, and I thought that show was gonna last a lot longer than it did, but apparently like not very many people watched it, or like the network just didn't give a shit. I don't know. I think it's just it bums me out. It's one of those things that bums me out because like I see every time that I like remember that the middle is still on, I just get really mad because I'm just like, why is the middle on? Which is literally the most bland shit that I've ever seen. But like Happy Endings got canceled after the last 3 or 4 seasons.
Are there any other shows that you watch, like any sitcoms?
I get on weird like kicks with sitcoms where like I remember like one part of one like episode, not even like a full scene, but like one line or like one like action that someone was doing, and then I would like watch the entire series to figure out which episode it was, and then just like if it's early on, I just watch the entire thing. But I did that with like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and that was like one of the few that I couldn't finish all the way through. But I did that with like Sabrina. Oh my God, there's this show with Brad Garrett called Till Death, and it was like this family sitcom. And in the 3rd season, I guess they like found out that they were going to get canceled, and then they were just like, well, fuck it, and then just like started writing everything weird as fuck. Like one of the characters, like in the 3rd season, realizes that like he gets hit on the head and realizes that he is a character in a sitcom, and from that point he's just trying to get the rest of the characters in the sitcom to like recognize that it's a sitcom. And then they kept they switched out the daughter for another person, and then he was like freaking out about that. So then they like switched her out, I think 2 more times as like a plot point for like him going crazy. And then there was just like a bunch of weird stuff in the like last season. And then I think there was like a half season, like in the 4th season, that was like really dope. Anyway, Till Death, give it a chance. I got home after, I already started smoking weed. I got home after smoking a bunch of weed, and I I hadn't heard about anything about this show, and it just happened to be on. And I turned it on, and the dude was just talking to camera, like breaking the fourth wall. Like acknowledging that it was a sitcom, and it like freaked me out really hard, and then it made me like want to watch the entire thing.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like our connection has really cleared up quite a bit.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm like just sitting in the same spot now.
It's good because I'm ready to ask you some very important questions now.
All right.
Kofi, do you believe in aliens?
Yes, I do believe in aliens. There's so much fucking space. I just don't. It's one of those things where it's just like, oh, people are like, oh, like if there's aliens, where are they? It's like, have you seen how fucking hard it was to get to the moon? Like, just because there's intelligent life doesn't mean that it's easy to find other intelligent life. And also, just because there's intelligent life doesn't mean that it's close enough to like come and visit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think people's arguments for like that type of argument of just like, where are all the aliens then, is like kind of stupid. Just look at how much fucking space there is.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that it's not very smart to not believe in a diversity of life, because look how many different types of animals are on this planet.
Yeah, and how many different habitats are like have weird animals that are specifically like able to live in that habitat and that habitat alone. This is how I feel about it. Like, there's a species of fish, the desert pupfish. They occupy, I think, like a few small, like desert, like water sources in, I want to say, Arizona or like the Southwest. And if you were a desert pupfish and you were to be like asked whether or not like there's anything else alive, like you'd probably say like no, like because this pond is all that there is. This analogy is falling apart. What I'm trying to say is if they're fish in the desert, like so isolated from everything else, how could we could consider ourselves fish in the desert, like too. We might just be in a weird uninhabited part of the universe, and like you go over to another galaxy and it's pretty much life. Then you go to another galaxy, it's completely fucking dead. And the like intelligent life, like we're intelligent life, but we don't have the capacity to go like beyond our solar system. So why would it be ridiculous that like there are several other like species that are also as intelligent or more intelligent than us, but also have a very hard time leaving their solar system because it's fucking hard to leave your solar system.
Yeah, that you're making a lot of sense. How about God? Do you believe in God?
No. I was listening then. No, I don't. I'm sorry, Mom.
So there is no God. There's just nothing.
Well, I don't know. Like, is the interconnectivity of like consciousness? I feel like consciousness as a whole is probably some sort of has some sort of emergent quality that is like kind of oneness. I don't think there's like a being that it like has our back, like is tending to us like a garden or something. Like it sounds like very like spiritual or whatever, but it just seems like there are emergent qualities, large masses, such as like ants. Like the individual ant is not necessarily like a smart thing, but a colony is like a superorganism that has its own attributes. And then like humanity, each individual has its own like presence, consciousness, whatever. But we don't know like how, we don't necessarily know the ways in which our consciousness interacts with other consciousnesses on a higher level. And I feel like that is a thing that can be mistaken for God, not just emergent qualities of consciousness.
And Kofi, this has been amazing. Love hearing your thoughts on all these topics. But I'm worried about you, buddy. How are we going to get you out of this slump?
Oh, man, don't worry about me. Help me get a fucking job.
Hire this man. Hire him.
I live in Olympia. Hire me. I need a job. I just want to start working again. And then I'll be happy, and then I won't be sulking, making everyone else around me feel sad. Huh? You'd be doing the world a favor. I will... Please call me.
Are you willing to drive?
How far?
How far? How far are you willing to drive?
Yeah. I'm willing to do an hour commute.
Would you do an hour and a half?
I don't know if I could do an hour and a half.
What if it was a really good salary?
If it was a really good job offer, talk to me about this. What is this?
All right, hear that, everybody out there? This man is willing to drive an hour and a half. That is some commitment. Hire this man. Pay him what he is worth. He will do whatever it takes.
And I swear I sound like a bummer, but I'm actually like pretty fun to be around. Just give me a job and I'll be fun. Pay me to be fun.
What about comedy? Are you we got to get you inspired again, buddy.
Yeah. Well, that'll come once I feel less unstable.
Yeah, that does
that's
make
really
sense.
what it is. Like, I just feel like I'm in an unstable place. And it makes me, like, unable to think about things in any sort of, like, positive way or sort of comedic way. That goes back to, like, his pain and whatever. Like, does pain breed comedy? I don't think that's necessarily true for everyone. Like I was saying before, it's just a sexy story to tell. I'm miserable and I can't make anything funny, like, for the most part. But when I was happier, I can make things fun.
Well, Kofi, it has been fun. We are headed to the top of the hour and approaching the end of our interview, but I do want to open things up completely for you and allow you to get up on the soapbox and just say whatever you would like to say to all of my listeners, all of the fans around the world. What would you like to tell them? Just say whatever you would like, and also follow that up with anything that you would like to plug, any social media, anything at all.
Get healthcare, visit your doctor regularly, make sure that you're eating well cut down on the amount of salt that you take in. Like, seriously, make sure that you're good. Also, don't fuck with cryptocurrency. I feel like that's just going to end, like, poorly for you, Shelly. I'm talking to you, Shelly. Also, if you're going to eat meat, be more connected to the source of your meat. Like, if you're not willing to be part of the butchering process, you should probably not consume meat. Be fucking squeamish to acknowledge the fact that it's coming from a living animal. Also, shout out to Keegan. Shout out to Darren. Shout out to my wife, Kelly. Yo, you're upset. I don't know if you can hear me right now. Shout out to Breezy. Shout out to Jacob, Alan, Brian, Trey. I'm in Pants Music for Crows right now. I think we're playing in Portland. I don't know where. Just go to Portland and just wander around until you hear a very loud saxophone. That's all I got.
Sweet. And I had such a great time talking to you, Kofi, and I definitely want to catch up with you maybe after 6 months, a year, whenever. I'd like to catch up with you and see how you're doing and see if you're back in the upswing. I think that would be a lot of fun.
My prediction, in the next 6 months, I will be mostly made of cash, and hopefully mostly made of cash. Yeah, that's my dream. I'd like to be mostly made of cash by then.
Yeah, that sounds. You can actually make it rain.
Yeah. Dreams do come true.
Sweet deal. Okay, Kofi, definitely would like to have you on again. And thank you so much for joining me tonight. You have a good night, my friend.
Yeah, bubs. You too. Bye.
Bye. And there he goes. That was our buddy, Kofi, stand-up comic from Olympia, Washington. A lot of interesting things there. I did feel kind of bad because our connection was breaking up a little bit. So the beginning of the interview I thought went really smooth, but maybe his cell phone battery might have been dying. So towards the end, the connection just kept breaking up and he became kind of hard to hear, but I kept it going and tried to get as many of my questions out as possible. And the connection didn't really stabilize, so I had to kind of make a judgment call and keep the interview a little bit shorter. But perhaps next time we can get Kofi set up a little bit better with a mic on Skype and we could go longer. That definitely would be cool. But until then, I invite all of you to stay a while with me by the fire. Stay with me. I think that it would be fun if we came back after the break and talked about a few things. That is only the first half of the show. We still have a second half. So anybody that would like to call in after the break, remember that number is 209-348-9810, or just add Ninja777 on Skype. And please don't call the number when the show isn't live. No, it's okay if you do that, really. I don't care. Let's listen to some music. I'll play some tunes, and then we can come back and have some fun. Hello, welcome back, everybody, to the end of days. This is me, it's Daniel, and I'm broadcasting to you all the way from Seattle, Washington. Ha 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 ha. We have lots of things to talk about tonight. All of you, thank you so much for staying with me into this late hour. It's only 7:15. Oh boy. So anyways, you guys, why have I not been on air? I know that it is so trying. It is trying. And I feel so bad about it because I am always chomping at the bit. I always have something to say. I always want to be on air. Obviously I do. Of course. And sometimes I get too busy working and trying to make things work inside this matrix, inside of this illusion, this false reality, this material world. And because of that, I have material goals, and I have to eat, and I have to sleep with a roof over my head, and I have to put that stuff first. But it doesn't mean that the main thing isn't the main thing. The main thing is this show, because this is the end of days. And what we're doing here, and I do say we because we are all doing this together, this is very special. And part of the reason is because we don't follow the rules. This is a total zone of chaos and disorder, and there are no rules to this. This is just whatever we want it to be for the time being. And this is the place to escape the order and the doldrum of the day-to-day activities. I mean, we have ultimate freedom here. It's the internet. This is the podcast age. In fact, I don't think it would be that bad of an idea to actually do a special on how to podcast, like how to put a podcast together and how to get started. I think that would be cool, right? Be beneficial to all of you little butterflies out there waiting to molt and become gods. I think that would be cool. There's a lot of things I want to talk about. I did want to give a shout out to one of our listeners out there, Sherry, longtime listener and caller. She sent me a very interesting book. Sent it in the mail. So I wanted to say thank you. I do love getting books in the mail. I do absolutely love it. I have gotten so many wonderful... Well, I should say what the book is. It's Dancing with Energy, Healing Magic and Mysticism by Mark Henry. Has a very interesting cover as well. I'm sure you could find it on Amazon if interested. I'm going to read it. I do love when people send me books. A lot of guests, they'll send me books before they come on the show. And that's got to be one of the most fun things about doing this. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm not the only podcast host or host of a show that will get books in the mail, right? I feel so dirty. But I absolutely love when guests that come on the show, they'll send me like a sample copy of their book and I'll read it because I love to read and I love knowledge. To me, that is the true gold, is being able to talk firsthand to the people that are delving into these fields and then being able to go deeper into their work. If only I wasn't so restricted by time. If only I had a clone of myself or some way that I could steal away and get more things done. But alas, I am mortal, and I only have so much time on this earth, so I can't sit around twiddling my thumbs. I have to try to keep things going. I want all the things that all people want to have, like a dream home and things like that. A home with an ocean view so that I can get hit by a tsunami. I don't know. I'd have to think about what the ultimate dream home is. Perhaps it will be an igloo or a teepee of some kind, or some sort of underground base where I can broadcast the show out of in complete safety without having to worry about any sort of anything coming after me. Right? I'll become a total paranoid lunatic, and I'll have like sentry guns controlled by Raspberry Pis, and they'll sweep the area, and they'll come out from these little squares of grass. They'll pop out of the ground, and they'll scan, and they'll shoot anybody that comes close. No, that's terrible. What am I saying? No, I'll have some sort of dome structure. Have you guys seen those dome houses? They're supposed to be able to withstand like any sort of hurricane or earthquake or anything like that. I think that's the story. There's a lot of options out there. I mean, you could theoretically live in anything from an old beat up RV to a 4-bedroom home to a shack in the woods to a brick house to a old style house from the 50s to a suburban house to a flat in the city. There's so many different options, right? And sometimes it's other factors that decide where we live and how and why. But I think I'd rather be in control of that. I'd rather decide for myself where I want to be and what it's going to look like, and maybe down to the smallest detail. Right? But enough about me. Okay, so a lot's been going on out in the world since our last show. The new Star Wars, big box office success, every bit as big of a success as the first movie, The Force Awakens. This one was called, The Last Jedi. No spoilers. For those out there that wait until it comes out on video or download or Netflix or whatever, no spoilers. I'm not going to spoil it. I thought it was good. I thought that there were things about it that weren't spectacular. I thought there were things about it that were heavily borrowed, but overall I thought that it came together well in a good package. I don't know if it lived up to the expectation. I suppose that would be in the eye of the beholder. But I would say that I was expecting a good movie, and I got a good movie. I suppose that this movie should have a certain feel, because the second movie in the original trilogy, The Empire Strikes Back, it sort of had a feel like the bad guys were kind of winning. So I think they wanted to preserve that, and I think that's the feel that they're going for. And in that case, it was a success, because that's kind of how you feel, right? And then it all comes together in the third one, and you have the huge, the good side ultimately wins, obviously. I don't think the bad guys are going to win. That's not a spoiler. Plus, that movie hasn't even come out yet. But I love Star Wars. I mean, I know nobody wants to listen to some freaking nerd ramble about how much they like Star Wars, but come on, Star Wars is great. When I was a kid, especially, I would love Star Wars anything. But they came out with so many different comic books, and I remember that they even had like entire book series that were rendered obsolete once. Oh, somebody's calling. Hello.
What's going on, Daniel?
Hey there, buddy.
How are you, my man?
What's going on?
Oh, just Wednesday night, digging your show.
Digging it.
Oh yeah.
Are you liking what you're hearing?
Oh, I love your show. Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Thanks. What did you think about our guest?
Pretty interesting. Is he a real guy, Daniel? He's a real guy?
Yeah.
That wasn't part of his act. 27, no job, hurting, depressed.
No, I think that was completely real.
That was real life, yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of those around, especially in big cities. That age group that feels that way. He's left-leaning, too, at that age.
Yeah, I think that the majority of people that live in this area, and especially the younger generation, they certainly lean very left.
Probably because of the educational system and TV, and sounds like he reads a lot of mainstream newspapers and magazines. But funnier than hell, real cool personality. I like it. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah,
really cool.
We're trying something a little different, but I think that it's starting off well. I think that we really got to know Kofi and kind of saw that darker side a little bit. He seemed to be in kind of a like I said earlier, a dark night of the soul.
Yeah, the dark night of the soul. That's the perfect description. In case anyone hasn't heard, that saying goes back. I forget where that comes from exactly. I could almost place it, but pretty much describes that period where make it or break it, get through or die, and not just physically, but mentally, emotionally. You know, that darkest point before the sun shines again.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that. They don't understand that you have to go through that in order to be happy, in order to feel good again.
Yeah, life is a balance. It's one of the 7 mysteries of the universe. There's a polarity principle to the universe. The entire universe operates off of a positive, negative charge. As we're told in science, electrons, neutrons, protons circulating around each other, magnetically pulled apart, and that's what creates life at the core of the atom.
That's very beautiful, Todd.
Well, you wouldn't have daylight if there wasn't moonlight.
You know, I had an interesting thought the other day, Todd. Do you want to hear it?
Oh, I do.
Well, we've been on this mission to fight these hidden forces, to these elite, these Illuminati, and suddenly it occurred to me that how do we know we're not doing exactly what they want us to do?
Well, I told you before that's what Bill Cooper said way back then. He's like, listen, I don't even know if I'm one of them coming out here to tell you this. And that was back in the early 90s, and I was like, whoa, you know. So he was admitting that he might be part of the whole thing to sell all this. And, yeah, we've talked a lot of times, Daniel, about this situation we find ourselves in.
And there's something so strange about these commercials and pop artists and these video games and all of these secrets of the past, they seem to be coming forward, and it's almost like a joke or a meme or a pop culture thing when people talk about Illuminati now. It makes you wonder if they want that to be out there.
Totally. And I'll tell you, let me just point to a couple of things you can say. There's an example. The Beatles, the Sgt. Pepper album, put Crowley in their giant crowd scene of 40 people. They put Crowley's face in about 1970, I think. Sgt. Pepper's album came out. There's 40 people. There's the Beatles. You've seen that album cover, right?
Yeah, I always wondered why Crowley was in there.
Because the Beatles are probably connected to the Crown and military intelligence operations, and it's part to do with their musicians, but people design their albums, and there's people pushing them. Daniel, you don't get famous going through their corporate structure unless you're really, really good. And can you imagine the odds of somebody getting famous through their structure, Daniel?
It's got to be 1 billion to 1.
Yeah, unless you weren't handpicked and chosen from the beginning. And if you look at all the stars and the movie stars and the singers, they're all related to old movie stars or old singers. It's like a family thing. They keep it all. It's like nepotism. That's what they call it.
Yeah, it seems to me like there might be some sort of hidden agenda here, because this is end of days radio, right? And for all we know, this whole thing with the Illuminati and this thing that's being put out here, how do we know that's not like a screen or a false front? And actually, let's say that we win in the Ed Todd, right? And we beat these guys that are hiding back there and controlling us from the shadows. Yeah, we win. Well, what comes next? What steps into play there? What takes over? What has the power after that point?
That's why you have to watch the chess pieces moving. And I don't buy a single thing I see anywhere almost, Daniel. But let's pretend that it's real. There's a resistance. The left has a resistance, too, against Donald Trump. And then the right has a resistance, for Donald Trump. And it keeps pushing us closer and closer to something. And the secret societies use the Hegelian dialect, where they use two opposing forces to produce an outcome that's in the desired direction. So that's how they play systems with the two parties. And yeah, Daniel, exactly. You're asking the question. You're scraping that nerve.
Well, I just have to wonder, because we know that we're headed towards something, and that there's going to be some kind of great unveiling, and there's all this stuff in the book of Revelations about the beast, and there's a character called the Antichrist. Well, how do we know that this whole Illuminati thing, maybe they're going to take these guys and they're going to say, hey, these are the people that have been abusing you all these years, and these are the people that have been ripping you off and making you into slaves, and they take these people and they hang them all in front of the world, and then out steps the Antichrist, and he's like, oh, okay, so I am the one that exposed all this.
We got rid of the bad guys. Finally, we can have the world we always wanted.
Yeah, maybe that's what's going on. Maybe this is all...
So,
go ahead.
Go on. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, maybe that's what's going on. Maybe this is just all setting up the birth of the Antichrist.
Well, what it is it's just cycles and patterns of rituals that the elite have played out for thousands of years. That's what it really is here now, Daniel. Listen, what you're talking about there is what they call a scapegoat. They get all society worked up thinking, we've found the fucking evil ones. And they get them up there on the Nuremberg trials, Daniel. and they hang them, and then they go, "We, justice is served," and then everybody moves on, and then the group that really did it goes out the back door going, "Right on, we got away with it." See? Scapegoat. But they know they got to put a goat out there, a black goat. Nobody likes it. That's the cause of all of our problems. Send it away or kill it.
There does seem to be some kind of thing going on in Israel.
Ancient rituals. They go off lunar cycles and weird rituals that they've practiced for thousands of years, these people. If you look at things real close, you'll see patterns of where events happen on their ritual holidays for thousands of years, and yeah, they're there and they do that.
In the book of Revelations, it says that in Israel, nations will gather.
Oh, you're talking about the end of the world, according to that thing that's been translated 20,000 times since and it never was really put together like it, was originally formed. The Bible.
True.
Gnostics, were the ones that really started the Christian sect, and they were a secret society that got persecuted for 300 years or more or longer, but they had to hide. They had to hide for about 300 years under the Roman Empire. So when the Bible was finally printed, do you think they're going to tell the original version of Christ? What you're hearing is stuff that's been homogenized and mixed with cultural traditions and systems that existed over in that period of that time. And then so many translations later, Daniel.
Yeah, who knows?
But there is a book of Revelations, yeah.
It does almost seem that, regardless of where it's from, that the elite seem to want to follow some sort of script by creating this big drama around Israel.
Well, the Middle East has been the place where they practice all their... They sell the arms, people are all mad, but everybody's shooting and bombs are going off anyways, and governments are all unstable. So it's a great place to sort of, get them all mixed in. It's like North Korea. North Korea.
Yeah, North
Been
Korea.
rattling sabers for 50 years. We're going to get you.
Yeah, I don't think that North Korea is really a threat to anybody, to be quite honest.
If you look at satellite images from outer space, they don't even have electricity at night. You can't even see their country from space because there's no running lights.
What the hell do they do? Light candles?
Yeah, probably.
So if you get caught,
shut down all the power. They shut down all the power at 4:00 over there.
If you get caught running a generator, you have to you get starved or something.
I don't know if anybody has generators over there.
Oh, that's a good point.
But wow, we're getting way out there. I thought it was cool, Daniel, that you had a young one on with a left-wing opinion, right-wing opinion. Either way, it's cool. I don't side anybody for having an opinion about politics or crap that's going on.
Yeah, and my opinion has changed so much over the years, and I tend to ride the fence and change my opinion just based on, if I find a new model that's better, I try to throw out the old one, or at least throw out the piece of it that I felt was wrong and integrate something new and just go with what makes sense and what's logical.
Yeah, and I found libertarianism a long time ago when I was young. And the libertarian philosophy is probably about the closest to what we would lean towards if we could. if we had our way. But our country's in a neoconservative or neo-democratic stage now where the military-industrial complex controls the government, you know?
Yeah, the military-industrial complex that JFK warned us all about.
Yeah, so you got the two parties that pretend that they're abortion or not global warming, no global warming, but they don't want to talk about the spending of all the money and the wars that go on forever and never end, and a handful of people, Daniel, getting richer and richer by the minute.
Yeah, and you know what's so funny is, Todd, we just had Martin Luther King Day, and Martin Luther King, he was blackmailed by the FBI. They were going to take some tapes that they had of him having affairs with women, and they were trying to blackmail him.
He was on J. Edgar Hoover's #1 hit list. So the head of the FBI is like, every man available, get this guy. And why did they want him, Daniel? Because he was bringing people together. Had probably one of the most powerful messages and voices of the time and thought out speeches. And they don't want the races, if they can help it, rising up against the oppressive system. And he was about as powerful as it gets. If you go look into the history of the Black Panthers, you know, he wasn't a Black Panther, but a lot of his close associates at the time became Black Panthers and very powerful voices and figures back at the time. Boy, they rooted him out, Daniel, hunted him down. You're not going to spread a positive message around here. So that history's for real. The government was used against Black people, the most powerful parts of our government, too. Shameful, period.
Shame. For shame.
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 You know what they
Shame.
say about J. Edgar Hoover? He, the mafia had pictures of him maybe in dresses.
And he's
frequent
hating
their
black
nightclubs.
people. He hates black people, and he's a tranny.
He hates black people. He's a tranny. He's going to mafia nightclubs. Do you think this guy could be compromised by the invisible hand?
What the hell? What was he doing at the mafia nightclubs? Was he blowing guys?
I have no idea. They didn't say beyond the dress part. But,
sounds like he was blowing Al Capone.
They were taking pictures, Daniel, the whole time.
Well, it's not good that he was racist. That's not good that he was a total racist.
So our governments work with the mafia. They work with whoever. You know, we got to get some stuff done. There's two parts to our government, a dark side and a light side. And there's a lot of honest, hard work and incredible people that really care about justice, and that's the reason they get into the system. But there's a corrupt group in there that sits up at the top, and that's why we're all in trouble, is because of this little. Now, it's not little. I mean, it's little, but it's not little.
Todd, I think what's going to happen is they're going to take Hillary Clinton, they're going to put her out there, and they're going to say, oh, we exposed her with the Pizzagate and the this and the that, and we exposed the Clintons and the elite and the Rothschilds and the Trilateral Commission and all of that. And then from there will be the rise of the Antichrist.
No, it's not going to happen, because it's going to be this continuous slow progression where nothing will happen eventually. Trump won't get thrown out of office. He won't. Hillary won't get put in jail. It's just not going to happen. We won't go to war with Korea. We are going to continue 75 wars in 75 other countries. So, and Daniel, it costs a lot of money to fight in 75 countries all around the world. Do you realize that?
Yeah, I can't believe that my taxes are going to slaughter people's drones. That's awful.
Well, I think we might be at war with like 150 countries, maybe off the books, but 75 officially. People don't even, how many wars are we in? Who knows? Drones. Obama was like the king of drones. You remember Obama saying it turns out I'm pretty good at killing people? When reporters asked him about the drone strikes, and everybody laughed.
Yeah, it's sad that anything like that is going on. I personally, I think that drones are an amazing technology. They sure are fun to fly, the radio-controlled ones that you can buy for toys and take pictures and stuff like that. But to use them in battle and to kill another human being who has no chance in hell, it's like that Vince McMahon theme song. You've got no chance in hell. There's nothing
You're
you can
watching
do.
it on a video. You're watching it on a video as it's chasing the guy down. You don't got to shoot right away. Just chase him around for a minute. That's horrible.
Yeah, and you watch the videos.
I'm sorry,
and,
but
yeah, it's just a slaughter. They have no chance. They're just raining. They're raining death upon these guys that are just walking around, walking around their little huts, their little cave
and over
holes.
there, everything's made out of mud. So all their buildings and shit. So they blow apart a whole street try to get one guy.
Yeah, they put some
horrible.
big bombs on these things too.
Oh yeah. Well, Trump did drop the biggest bomb ever, the mother of all bombs, just to let him know that he's coming to drop more bombs.
Do you think Trump's going to do that? Is he going to send some? Are we going to have wars?
Well, yeah. Oh, we have wars. Are we going to have wars? We're fighting nonstop wars. Haven't you heard about Turkey and Syria and ISIS and the Kurdish fighters, and we're arming like 10 different groups over there that are fighting each other. On one side, we're supplying the Kurds with some stuff, and on the other side of the country, we're fighting the Kurds with our other enemies. It's pretty nuts over there right now. I don't know if you follow geopolitical wars.
Well, the
news.
Yeah, Todd, the problem with that is I live in an area that is very military. It's military through and through. It's like a third of the people out here are living on the base, and they're at JBLM or one of the naval bases over in the Kitsap Peninsula. Everybody around here is either affiliated with military or has some kind of connection, and it's sad because you always hear these stories and you see the people and how it affects them, and so many of these conflicts, nobody even knows what the heck they're going out there for.
Believe me, I'm surrounded by military. Utah is like one of the biggest military industrial sites in the United States. It's where they tested the atomic bombs, for crying out loud. So if you go, they let them drop atomic bombs on you. They're doing all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I'm surrounded by it. And I know and love lots of people that are in the military. They're some of the best people I know, some of the most outstanding people I've ever met. And in most cases, their story's kind of sad, and I'll just put it that way.
Well,
I got uncles and grandfathers and lots of people in the military around me. My stepdad was military and told you these stories.
Well, for the youth to have to go out there, and they're so young. I mean, 18 years old, you're already out there, you're dying for your country. You haven't even had a chance to realize that you're stupid yet. I didn't realize I was stupid until I was like 24. I didn't start to correct it until I was 28. I'm 35, and I still feel like I'm far too stupid. I don't even know how I could imagine losing my life at just 18.
At 17, they don't even know what it means to live.
And a lot of those
really
people,
don't even know. what it means to live, to be alive, the meaning of life.
And a lot of those people,
that,
a lot of those people in the World War II, they weren't even 18 yet. They're like 15 or 16.
My grandpa jumped in at 16 because he felt so patriotic that he decided to join the war early, and they let him in. He was in Pearl Harbor on one of those battleships that sank. Watched the guy's head get blown off next to him, and it blew one of those gun turrets to drop bombs. The kamikazes was coming in Pearl Harbor. He was on one of the ships that sank. He survived.
Holy crap!
Yeah, he went on to fight in the Pacific, and then his stories got more intense, where they had to go fight Japan, and they had to take it island by island. And there's thousands of islands before you get to Japan. And they went in. He was on a battleship, and but he would go on shore, and they went in and they had to clean out all the Japanese all the way up to Japan. It's pretty incredible stories.
Yeah, I love hearing stories like that. I love to hear stories about World War II.
He had a good one, a real funny one. I'll tell you real quick. They had a break where they could jump off the ship, and the deck of the ship is like 60 feet above the water. And they're over in the Fiji Islands, the Pacific, and it's warm waters, and it's like, yeah, let's take a break. So everybody dives in. So he jumps off, and then as he jumps in, there's a jellyfish, like a 20-foot jellyfish.
Ooh.
He jumps right in the middle of it.
Ugh.
Stung him from head to toe. Had to be in like, had to treat him for like 2 or 3 days from jellyfish stings.
Yeah, those things really get that big. They actually, they're so big they can envelope your body.
Yeah, he didn't realize it until he went down through it. They just dive off the ship when they get R&R, he was telling me. But another creepy story, Daniel, was they had to go into these islands where people would bury their dead underground into catacombs. And everybody was issued a gun and a bayonet with a bayonet on the end. And you had to go through these catacombs and turn over these dead bodies to see if there's anybody alive in there. And he said they carved these catacombs out so deep that they had just thousands of bodies. And you had to tip them over to see if anybody's alive behind there hiding. And then after he got done doing that creepy shit, he went back to the ship. And a day later, his ear was ringing. He was hearing this just like, oh, God, ear-piercing, brutal ring. Didn't know what was going on. Just like, oh, feeling all dizzy. And then the next day, he wakes up and he said a plant was growing out of his ear. He'd conducted some fungus in the tunnels where it got in his ear and was growing out. The doctors had to remove it. Yeah, my grandpa told me some pretty wild stories about World War II.
Did he come out okay? Did he lose his hearing?
No, maybe. He might have. You know, my grandpa died just tough as nails right down to the end. He had a battleship tattooed across his chest. It was really cool, of his battleship. He had one of those tattoos on your arm where you could flex it, and the Hulu girl would, the skirt would shake or look like she's dancing.
Yeah, it was a lot.
All from World War II.
It was a lot different back then. People were so patriotic, and people actually had to come together and fight a war.
Well, back then, everybody could get behind fighting the Nazis, the real-life enemy that was threatening the world's peace. Today, terrorism, this war that never ends, is a vague enemy that could be anybody. You know what I mean? See how it's changed?
Yeah, it has changed. It went from Iraq to Pakistan, back to Iraq to Iran to Saudi Arabia to Afghanistan.
That's just global. That's just them, the globalists playing countries off over in the Middle East on their chessboard, their grand chessboard. World War II was all of the giant Axis powers going to find out who's going to run the world. And of course, it was the United States.
Yeah, I suppose it's good that we won. I'm glad that I was born here.
Yeah, we're lucky. Poor Germans.
Yeah.
My stepfather's from Germany.
Can you imagine being born there after the war?
My stepfather's from Germany. His father was in the SS.
He was in the SS?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he got picked up after World War II. My stepfather's dad, his name is Alfred. And he was set in a prisoner camp at the end of the war. And they allowed him to come to Canada and become a citizen in Canada. And he loved the United States and he loved Canada. And my stepdad became a U.S./Canadian citizen when he was young because his father was a German immigrant that was allowed to come over to the West and immigrate into our society. Oh, yeah, but I got to tell you, Daniel, my stepdad, he's so cool. His name's Klaus. He was Army back in, 1978. And guess where they stationed him? Over in Germany. So he goes to Germany on the west side, my stepdad, of the Berlin Wall. He's there in 1978. The Russians are on the other side. My stepdad's a tank driver during 1978.
Isn't it funny how we're all kind of connected to those days, to the different eras? Totally.
And just know that this is a thing that goes, we're lucky in the United States. We haven't been touched by war and revolution and the overthrow of our government in a way that you can see and feel physically. Other countries, man, they get overthrown and there's no food, the military kicks your teeth in. Like your guest earlier was saying, in Guyana, they don't lie about being corrupt. They just tell you straight up, we'll kill you. Give me your money.
Todd, did you hear this stuff? Did you hear this stuff about the secret society within the FBI that stuff that's been in the news recently?
Yeah, and I'm begging everybody. Do you hear this shit? If they're talking about it in the mainstream news, that there's a secret society inside the FBI, why can't your mind open up to the idea that secret societies are all around you? So either the news, that's the big story. That is the biggest story of the week. That there's a secret society supposedly inside the FBI, Daniel, that's supposed to be the most unbiased, impartial, only in it for the truth, right, Daniel? They're going to find the culprit. Can you picture this TV show? Oh.
Well, you just have to think, why is it that people can't believe that this stuff is going on? It's right in front of their faces, and it also makes me wonder once again if the Illuminati is supposed to be exposed at some point in the future due to some other plans.
Well, Freeman Fly's been saying off and on, kind of hitting. Listen, everybody, I think we're going down a dangerous road. If we keep eroding trust in our government, then Americans aren't going to want the government because they're going to be convinced it's too corrupt and it's a good system. You ever heard Freeman Fly say that?
I've listened to bits depending on his guests. I've definitely spent some time listening to the show.
He suspects, and he's mentioned it, that they're going to take down our system by making everybody totally disgusted by it. It's obviously corrupt. He said that, not exactly, I'm paraphrasing, but. And then if everybody loses trust in the system, Daniel, where we live, then they'll want to change the form of government. And when they change the form of government, probably won't be the best form of government that you could get if they do it on a whim.
Yeah, I want to get that guy on the show. I've tried, and we almost had a date going, but he was too busy, so I hope that it does happen. I think that would be something special.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, Freedom Fly is pretty cool. I think your show's the best show of them all out there. That's my own opinion. But
Thank you.
yeah, incredible show. Incredible show, my man. I had to call in.
Do you know why that is, Todd?
I hope I didn't take up too much of your time.
Do you know why this show is the best?
Why?
Because I'm a god.
That's true. That's true.
Do you know who else is a god, Todd?
Who's the god, my man?
Todd is a god, bod, Todd.
There you go. It all rhymes. That tells you there's something there, yeah.
You're right, it rhymes.
If you get rhyming, then you know the universe is involved.
Todd, we are debuting your new song tonight.
Oh, I love that shit. I hope it's the right version.
Do you want to give any insight on the creation process?
Well, we, you kind of talked about how fuck you want to do an outro. I remember a show back or two, and I thought, fuck this. If you want me any help, if you need any help, we're always creative. Me and my cousin Eric. And that's what I thought, we could do another song because songs just fly off of us, especially my cousin Eric. But he's a very talented musician. I'm a singer. But, I spent a night or two writing a song and just was so inspired. The show's inspiring. I think it needed that and it came through. I called on the universe. Make me a vessel.
You worked some magic.
Yeah, I did. And I didn't do it consciously. I didn't go like plan a ritual or anything. I just do that naturally nowadays.
Well, tonight is the night.
We've come up with something pretty incredible.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's always exciting when we debut something like this, and my frustration was that the outro that we had, I thought it was good. I was very proud of it, but it was a little rough, and it would go from like silent to really loud, and then silent again, and some people found that kind of grating. Go ahead.
I love the dolphin sounds. The dolphin sounds. That's so freaking cool.
Oh yeah, me soloing on top of the dolphins. That was awesome.
Oh, it's so good. And then a creaking ship, and then I love the rain sound, and then you come up with that really cool keyboard.
Yeah.
Let me say something about that song I sent you, Daniel.
Okay.
That was start to finish, second take, no special effects, 2 amps, an electric guitar, and a mic. Nothing, no special effect, no twist on our voice. I didn't use any, incredible new electronics to make that incredible sound that my voice has. And I was amazed. When I got done listening, I was like, holy shit. Whoa, I did that? It blew me away.
It's amazing, Todd, because you're really just bringing back that spirit of the 70s.
Well, I get inspired by the spirit of music. And I told you that music's powerful. If you want to know the truth, Daniel, music's one of the most powerful forces in the universe that you can tap into right at your fingers. And there's lots of evidence. Put on your favorite song, see how it changes your mood.
All right, Todd, that was beautiful, and we are going to move forward, but thank you so much for calling in, my friend. It has been a pleasure as always, and I will talk to you again, and we will premiere the new outro for End of Days Radio tonight.
No, I can't wait. Right on, Daniel. Keep on rocking, my man. Cruise that black ship into the night.
The black ship. Arr, matey.
Aye, aye, Captain. Peace be with you.
Arr. And there he goes. That was Todd the God Bod. And we will be premiering that new outro tonight here on the End of Days. Ooh, boy. I've got tons of different topics here. There's a lot that we need to get into, of course. There always is so much. I do have a news story that I wanted to go over with you guys. I do like to make the daily news a big part of this program. I find it to be very important. This one comes from the New York Times. The Grandma Clown resigns. The Me Too movement hits the circus. Grandma Clown resigns. One of America's most revered circus performers, Grandma the Clown, has resigned from the world-renowned Big Apple Circus after it was revealed that he pressured a 16-year-old aerialist into posing for pornographic photos in 2004. Barry Lubin, 65, who played Grandma in a wig, pearls, and a lumpy red dress to an audience of millions, offered his resignation on Friday shortly after the former aerialist contacted the circus to accuse him, said the circus chairman Neil Kanovitz on Tuesday. Wow. Holy crap, that's disgusting. And this guy is flying around and he's a pervert that's going after somebody that's under the age of 18. Just more and more of this sexual misconduct of men acting like perverts and making women uncomfortable and trying to take pictures of them naked and all kinds of lewd behavior of men not respecting the boundaries of women. And I wish that it was reversed. I wish that there are more stories with women doing this to men because it seems like to be a problem. And I don't know if these guys are just really horny or they're out of control. These guys got to get some kind of control over themselves and to cross that line and go after a 16-year-old who is not even capable of defending herself, taking advantage of the youth and the association with the circus and all of that. That is just awful. And it's an abuse of power and authority. And I don't know what it is where a lot of these guys, they think that that's okay. And I might have done things that I shouldn't have. I may have flirted with women in the workplace. I have a habit of doing things of that nature, and I never took it too far. There was never any physical things going on, and but you have to be careful because small things can be blown out of proportion and accusations can be made. So you have to be very professional at all times, and especially don't conduct yourself as a predator. And you try to get to a place of a powerful position in life, and then try to use it to be to be a creep. Don't do that. I'm sorry. It's just you see this stuff in the news all the time, and it's disgusting. It makes you wonder what is the psychology behind it, and it makes you feel very sad for the human race that so many of these people out there, they almost seem to prey upon others and in the workplace. And it happens so much, and the pressures of this matrix and to keep your refrigerator full and your cabinets full. Next thing you know, you're a hot young intern and you're being pressed against a desk of some kind with a sweaty, much older individual trying to grope at your lady parts. You know what happens out there in the world? But maybe this is a good thing. Maybe this is some form of... It's got to come out before things change, and these people need to realize that it's not okay, and maybe they need to be made examples of to some capacity, whereas before, people that were taking advantage of this way, they would normally keep quiet about it. And we've seen it in the Catholic Church, and we know there's all kinds of cover-ups going on and people getting away with things that they shouldn't. You can't blame parents for wanting to homeschool and do stuff like that, considering the sheer amount of sexual predators. You guys want to do something really creepy and really scary? Download one of those apps that finds crime in your area. And I'm not doing this to scare you, but just for giggles. Download one of those apps and look at it, and you will see all of the sexual criminals, those who have committed sex crimes, sex predators, the ones on those lists. You'll see them in your area, like on your block. You will actually, sex offenders, that's what they're called. Sorry. Sometimes during these broadcasts, I am a little bit baked, so excuse me if I can't recall certain facts as quickly as I should. But you guys know what I mean. It's bad all around. Okay, let's move on. Anyways, I'm tired of talking about these goddamn perverts and their corruption. And you know who's the worst of all? Bill Clinton. Good old Bill. You know what's funny is here in my little studio, sometimes I think I'm hearing stuff going on outside, like I'll hear a big thump. And I wonder what the hell was that? I'll go outside, there's never anything there, but it almost sounds like some extremely overweight person that weighs like 400 pounds is just throwing their ass against the side of the house and just slamming into it. It's like boom. I don't even know what the hell that is. I'll just hear boom. I don't know if it's some aliens or ghosts or the walls creaking or a deer. I'm still watching Dragon Ball Super. Those out there that enjoy anime. I got some emails from you that enjoy anime and were encouraging me to talk about anime. For those that don't know, I'm actually part Japanese. Not that that really has anything to do with my affection for anime. Affection. But I haven't really been super into it in recent years because I was getting into other things. You only have so much time. But Dragon Ball Super has brought me back in. This Dragon Ball Super is amazing. It's just as good as the previous series. It's as good as the Majin Buu saga. It's somewhere maybe not quite as good as the Cell saga. And it has Frieza in it. He comes back. Those of you who know who Frieza is. Really bad guy. He's like the main villain in the Frieza saga. And those Saiyans, they're amazing. I've always liked the Saiyans. I know a lot of people are going to be like, what the hell is this guy talking about? But okay, I'll explain it really quick for those of you out there that don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Dragon Ball is about this little kid named Goku who has a tail. And there's this cartoon that goes on for years. And all of a sudden it changes and he grows up. And it's like the first time that I ever saw a kid turn into an adult in cartoon form. Right? That's what I noticed at first when I was a kid. And all of a sudden you find out that Goku is actually an alien from another planet. He's called a Saiyan, right? That's his race of people, his planet, his people, right? And then two guys from the survivors of the Saiyan race, because they all got destroyed, two guys from his race, the Saiyans, they come to Earth and they fight Goku, and that's a whole storyline, and it's really badass, and they have some crazy battles. And that's Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is like the first part, which is almost like a kid's cartoon. Then it turns into Dragon Ball Z, which is just insanely badass. It's like violent and crazy fighting and on a whole nother level. I'm sure people are out there like, Daniel's a nerd. I don't want to listen to this. Whatever. I'm going to keep talking about Dragon Ball for a little bit longer. So, where was I? Oh, okay. So these Saiyans, right? So Goku's fighting the Saiyans from outer space, and he eventually wins, and then it goes into this other story arc where they go to this other planet, and Goku has to fight this guy named Frieza, and Frieza is just this crazy, powerful emperor of space, and he's got this whole army at his command. And Frieza is super powerful, and he can transform into all these different powerful forms. And him and Goku are fighting, and it's this crazy long fight that just goes on over like 50 different episodes. If you watch the cartoon, the anime, it just goes crazy, and it just goes on, and they're fighting, and they're fighting. But if you like sci-fi and martial arts and Japanese cartoons, then you would love this. And so many of you out there are aware of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, but maybe you think it's for kids, or you're embarrassed, or you watch it in secret. You're a closet Dragon Ball fan. You watch it in your basement, and when you hear the door creak, you shut the TV off. But obviously, getting stoned and watching Dragon Ball Z is the greatest thing ever, right? Or just watching Dragon Ball Z no matter what. Or being stoned no matter what. No, I'm just kidding. But the point is that Goku, he's fighting Frieza, and it's going on, and then all of a sudden everything's becomes really cool, because Goku becomes what's called a Super Saiyan. Or in Japanese, they say it different. They call it a Saiyajin. They say Saiyan in English, but in Japanese it's Saiyajin. So he becomes a Super Saiyan, or a Super Saiyajin. And his hair just like spikes up in the air, and there's this yellow energy around him, and his hair it bleaches and it turns friggin' blonde, and there's like energy coming off of him, and he becomes like 50 times stronger, and he just beats the shit out of Frieza, and they have this amazing, long, crazy battle, and it finally ends. And, well, I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but I spent all that time talking about Dragon Ball. I'm so sorry. But I just want to educate you guys, because you got to get into this. I'm telling you, for those of you that would never do something like this, you have to trust me. You have to trust me, because this is something that will appeal to anybody. Okay, I did want to talk a little bit about, you know what, I have some letters I have to read. I don't have time for all these topics. Let's read a letter from a fan. Dear Daniel, why do you think your opinion is so great? 1 second you like Trump, then you turn on him, and then like nothing happened, your fucktard self is back in the Trump bandwagon, like suddenly you forgot what you said a week ago. Please be more consistent, or else leave radio to the real pros. From Tunan. Well, Tunan, that's rude, first of all. Yeah, I admit that I was on the Trump bandwagon, and sometimes I'm off, and sometimes he makes me laugh, and I'm kind of like, go Trump. But let's face it, all of these presidents, they're backed by the same puppet masters. We lose no matter what, and I've succumbed to the despair. I've succumbed to the apathy. I've succumbed to the what's the word I'm looking for? The nihilism of the modern age. And now I just want to be entertained by a crazy president that says weird things all the time. Right? It's reality TV. I've given up. But I know what you guys mean. I have changed my mind about that, and I voted for Obama too, and then I didn't like Obama, then I did, and we know, all of you guys out there that think you're so smart, you're the same way. You go back and forth, and you know it. At least I'm being real, and I'm being honest about it. And I'm saying this is how I feel, and this is why. I'm not holding my opinion back because I'm afraid of offending all the millions and millions of the fans out there in the Barclays Center in Madison Square Garden. Am I a big shot? I don't know. I'd rather be a big shot than a big shit, that's for sure. And I respect everybody's opinions. If I'm annoying to you and you don't like that I'm doing something, then I encourage you to write in. That's Daniel, endofdaysradio@gmail.com. Daniel, endofdaysradio@gmail.com. And remember to go to endofdaysradio.com for everything End of Days Radio. You can see the schedule, the upcoming guests. You can chat in the forum, chat with me, Daniel, and you can see all of the social media stuff and all the different history of the show. There's a page that kind of talks about that. I'm going to expand on that. I'm going to put more information and more of my thoughts, and maybe put some blogs or something up and some writings. My thoughts on the world. This is what grinds my gears, and this is why. This is my pen, and this is my voice. I'm just kidding, you guys. But it's so funny that, you know, in the social media age and the podcast age and the internet, and there's so many ways you can express yourself, and anybody can have a voice, and a lot of people just use it for the worst purposes and to bully others and to taunt them and invade their privacy. You see a lot of that. But I like to think that I try to stick to the positive things about the internet, like being able to broadcast all across the world, all across this great big globe that we are on. Or is it a globe? Is it a flat plane? You know what's so funny is the flat earth thing pisses people off. Like, I've had people say that they won't listen to the show anymore because I talk about flat earth, and it's just so stupid, and I don't believe them when they say that. I think they're just being like, hey, baby, if you don't change this thing about the show, I'm going to take my ball and go home, so you better do what I say. It's that sort of thing, right? And then, no, I'm just kidding. I respect all of your opinions, of course. But you know what I mean? How it's like, sometimes it's like, ooh, I stopped listening because your outro was too loud. I would subscribe, but if you would change that, maybe I would. Okay. At least we have a brand new, sweet, delicious song made by my friend Todd the Godbod. That's my name for him. I'm excited because the music on this show is excellent, and it really adds to the atmosphere, and it's such an important part of this experience. Everything that goes into it, all of my friends out there in the End of Days Radio world, all of you in the sphere, all of us are connected. We are one. We are the hive mind. No, I'm just kidding. We are the Borg. Oh my god. Hasn't the Star Trek thing run its course? I got this VR game. It's Star Trek Bridge Crew, and it's kind of cool. I love any VR game, but it makes me think of how fun it was when we had a Star Trek show on TV. I was really into Star Trek Voyager. I know that's weird. Most people were probably into the original show or the Next Generation, but I liked Voyager. I liked Captain Janeway and Seven of Nine and Chakotay and the rest. The Doctor that was a hologram. It was a good show, and it doesn't get the appreciation that it deserves. But there's really nothing on right now. There's like a web series or something like that, and then they got the reboot movies, which are kind of bad, let's be honest. Let's just be honest, people. Why don't I go ahead and read another letter? Hi, Daniel. What happened to Max Cole? Your show is just not as good without an intelligent black man who can balance out your awful right-wing perspective. From Kobe. Nothing happened to Max Cole. I talked to him the other day. I was talking to him about a TV show that we both love, Mr. Robot. As you know, Max Cole, he's a film director. We talk about making movies and stuff, because I'm cool and I'm friends with movie directors who win awards for making outstanding motion pictures. But Max Cole will be back on the show probably really soon, and we can hear his political views and what he's been up to, and he's always fun. He's the type of guy that you want to do some pot with or have some drinks with and have fun. He's really a down-to-earth person that's party time all the time. And I can't wait until I go to Los Angeles and we can race our cars against each other and do some cocaine and have that Hollywood sort of experience together. Right? I just said something extremely weird. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have like a Green Street hooligan story with Max Cole. Okay, enough of that. Let's keep it going. Let's keep reading some fan mail. It's fan mail time. Oh, should we make a theme for that? Or would that be... I don't want to be that. I don't want to be the host that plays the sound effects. I find that to be so... I don't know. I don't feel like that's this show. It's not that I don't like it. I love it on Howard Stern. But I don't want to do that. It's not the style of the show. This show is just we talk and we make sound effects ourselves. Beep, beep. I don't even know what that was, a gorilla. But you know what I mean? We make our own sounds. Like I'll make fart sounds with my armpit, or I'll actually flatulate into the mic as hard as I can. I will ruin my microphone with juices coming out of my... okay, I'm being disgusting. I'm sorry. Let's keep the letters going. Hello, End of Days. Who is this Todd guy? Is he singing in the intro? And did the CIA really try to take him out back in the 80s? That's from Bill. Todd, he is a longtime caller of the show, and he called in just 10 minutes ago. And he's also interviewed on this show, and yeah, he's singing in the intro, and he's singing in the new outro tonight. And he did get into some trouble back in the days. If you want to hear about that, go back and listen to the show with him, the last one, the End of Days Radio episode. You can go to endofdaysradio.com and go through the archives, check it out on YouTube. Subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Store. But yeah, it's all very true, and thank you for writing and inquiring about our buddy Todd. And I do have a few other topics that I wanted to get into, but I don't know if we have time. Okay, let's just do it. Screw it. Let's do it. Screw it. Let's do it. So I wanted to talk about, because I like to educate you guys and help you young folk out there that look up to Uncle Daniel, you young folk that look up to me as authority figure in your life. I'm just kidding. But I wanted to talk a little bit about keeping yourself safe in street survival. It's something that's so often overlooked. As you know, I like to study the martial arts, and part of that is to keep myself safe so that I can live. So I can keep breathing and living on this earth. I think a lot of people, they feel like, oh, no one's ever going to attack me, the law keeps me safe. But that's just not the truth. Every day we hear about people being victimized by crime. We hear about horrible meth addicts taking advantage of people and killing them. And all sorts of awful things happening to completely innocent people. People that we love, that we like to protect. And of course we'd like to protect ourselves. So there's certain things that you can remember to keep yourself a little bit safer. Like staying out of areas that you know have a lot of crime or where you feel there is potential for danger. If you hear about people getting robbed or mugged in a certain area of the city, then you'd probably be better off steering clear. Unless you have to get there to go to work, in which case you should probably stay in your car and get there as quickly as you can. But there's a lot of little things like that you can do. If you're going to break the law, for example, why don't you just break one law at a time? Don't have an expired license and tabs and speed, for example, and have drugs like meth in the car. That's another thing you can do, is not break the law. That keeps you very safe. Or if you are going to break the law, try to break just one law at a time. That seems to be something a lot of dumb criminals have trouble with. Also remember that proximity equals danger. The closer you are to an attacker, the more danger that you're in. So creating distance is essential. Be prepared to run. Make sure that you're in shape. Make sure that you can run away if somebody's trying to hurt you or rape you or kill you or take your money. Being able to just run away is very powerful and will keep you safe and save your life. And don't be ashamed to just run away if you feel like you're in danger. You don't know if your attacker has a weapon or what they plan to do to you, and you are better off not having to fight them. But if you have to defend yourself as a last resort, then there's nothing wrong with carrying a concealed weapon. There are blades that are legal that you can carry, that you can defend yourself with. Folding knives that are under a certain amount of inches. Check the local laws in your area. You can also, of course, carry guns in many states in the United States. In many countries, you can have a permit, or you can do an open carry where you just carry your weapons out in the open. Also, lift weights and get very big and strong. That can help you too. No, it's true. Being big and buff is intimidating. I don't know how far it's going to go in an actual fight, but that intimidation factor is key. If you look like somebody that nobody wants to mess with, then you're going to stay out of a lot of bad situations. Also, be aware of body language. Be aware of the people around you. Try to see people's intent. If people are focusing in on you in an unnatural way, then you might have a problem and you might want to get away from them. They might be planning to rob you, or they might think that you're challenging them, and there's all kinds of possibilities. You don't want to make too much eye contact with people when you're walking on the street, but you don't want to make too little either. You don't want to look weak, but you also don't want to give off that you're challenging anybody either. So you definitely got to walk the middle ground there. So take these tools, take these examples, and take them to heart and use them to protect yourself. I'll try to provide what additional advice that I can. Of course, you can do things like take martial arts classes that I think are very important, and you can learn to use weapons, and you might even want to take it a step further and learn to take care of yourself completely and live off the grid and become some sort of prepper. But that's another thing entirely. I do think that there's something to be said for having street smarts, for knowing how to protect yourself and keep yourself out of dangerous situations. If you go out and you go to clubs, go with groups, go with friends. Remember, there's strength in numbers, and if you are alone, then you could find yourself becoming a victim. It brings out the predatory instinct when you're alone and by yourself. So if you're going to a club, a bar, or even a house party or place like that, there's always strength in numbers. Don't go to social gathering places like that alone. Go with the crowd, go with your friends, people that can watch your back, and people that can at least somebody to call the police if you're getting your head smashed in. There's so many little things like this that you can do, and I think if you do them, that you are far safer. Know your limits. Like, know if you can take somebody. Be honest with yourself, and don't fight if you can't win. Right? That's pretty essential too. You guys, that's about it. I did want to go over the mind-blowing moment of the day, but this mind-blowing moment of the day is a little bit different. As you know, we had our guest Kofi on, and I felt like the mind-blowing moment of the day was just kind of hearing his story and the struggles that he's going through, and with the inspiration and it just feeling like he's in a bad spot. And I've been there before. I've been out of work. Like that song, Breaking the Law. Nah, out of work. Nah. I've been in those shoes. I've walked that road. And it sucks when you're not working and you don't have a job and you're not bringing money in. And it can feel really hopeless at times because you're wanting somebody to give you a break. And really, you just have to keep going, and you have to keep trying, and you have to keep pushing forward, and you can't give up on yourself. And if you can do that, things will balance out for you. You will learn from your mistakes, and you'll keep getting better every time. And don't get too bummed out if you get fired, or if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, or you just don't like it. Just keep going and learn. Each time things don't work out for you, or every time you're not satisfied and you move on, learn from it and always look for new opportunities and always think about what you like to do and what's fun for you and how you can express yourself on this earth. But we will talk to Kofi again. Hopefully we can get him on some Skype. And Comedy Month will continue. Next week on... Let's see how... Let me refresh my page here. January 31st at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will be joined by Monica Nevi, Monica Nevi, we'll have to ask her, another local comedian, and I am very excited to talk to her. It's going to be awesome. This is just the beginning of Comedy Month on End of Days Radio, a very special month, a little bit of a break from the doom and gloom. A little bit of a break from the ghosts and goblins and the vampires and the witches. We're taking a break from you witches, because you witches are bitches. We're taking a break from the witches and the ghosts and the goblins and the skeletons. And the skeletons that exist in people's closets. We're taking a break from the Illuminati and the everything. How many different topics do we cover on this show? We cover everything from Aleister Crowley to Sasquatch to human origins to the Book of Revelations to piracy. Everything and anything. And we're adding the comedy element because that's what this show needs. It needs the comedy element. It's boring talking about frickin' the same old shit all the time with the same old guests. We've been there, we've done that. We don't need to go back in all the time. We can take little breaks and talk to other types of people, right? Am I right? You know I'm right. We can I want to talk to somebody that's a werewolf, like a real werewolf. Or they believe that they are one. Wouldn't that be great? Or maybe some dwarves, some people that have had to grow up and live and have had to do certain things around the house to be able to, reach the shelves and things like that, and to hear what that lifestyle is like. I want to do it. I want to just open up Pandora's box. But don't worry, everybody. I know what you're thinking. This show the main thing will always be the paranormal, because that's the mission here. And it will always be the awakening, and it will always be about magic, because this is a show about magic. But maybe the comedy thing is another type of magic. And that's why it's important. And that's the spirit of End of Days Radio. I love you guys. Yep. This is going to help. This is going to help a lot, because we got to stop taking ourselves so seriously. We have to. Oh, you know what? There was one more thing that I needed to talk to you guys about. I wanted to talk about Jewel. You know Jewel, that woman that sings with the guitar? She was popular in the 90s, and she has crooked teeth. Isn't she pretty? Don't you guys think that she's pretty? I do. I think she looks great, and she's a great singer. And I don't think that Jewel gets enough credit. I know that there's a lot of Jewel fans, but a lot of her songs are very good. And people often ask me, like, oh, Daniel, who is the hottest actress, or who's the best looking woman that you can think of on the planet? And maybe it's Jewel. She's definitely a candidate, right? It's hard to decide. Some of you say Scarlett Johansson. And I get that, and others would say Kim Kardashian. And a lot of people don't like her at all. They say her butt is photoshopped, and it's really, in real life, it's buttery, and it looks like a big ham, or it's greasy, or it has pockmarks, or something like that. Somebody told me that the other day. I was horrified. Kim Kardashian's butt is not smooth. It looks different in real life. But there's a lot of different tastes and different types. You hear people say that you're not my type. Some people get that a lot. You're not my type. You hear that a lot, and the truth is there are types. There are types. Indeed, a lot of women don't like dating guys that are shorter than them. And a lot of guys don't like dating women that are taller than them. And I'm sure there's guys that like dating women that are taller than them. And there's all kinds of different wants. And some ladies, they only date guys that are in bands, or they like guys in the military, or they like African American black men, or they like Hispanic men. They never seem to like Asian guys. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But, you know what I mean? There's so many different possibilities out there, and so many different ways you can spin it. I think I'm getting a little bit tired. But my main point is, we're going to end the show soon, because once I start feeling sleepy, that means Dan needs to go to Betty Boo, and he needs to get his nap time or he'll get cranky. Usually it means I need to go eat. I am loving the VR, the virtual reality, though, and in a few more days I should be getting that new Dragon Ball Z fighting game, so I'll be able to review that or talk about it for those of you that give a crap. I won't spend too long on it. That's about it. But it just on that topic of the different tastes and the different sort of likes and stuff like that, it's so true. And you really have to realize that. So don't get too down on yourselves if you aren't somebody's type or they don't like you. There really are types. And think about how shallow that you are. Think about how picky and how, every 1 in a million people that you meet in real life, you actually feel like you have a thing for. Think about that and how picky you are, and realize that it's fair. It's fair that, you're not somebody's type. It's totally fair. And there's nothing wrong with that. So if somebody says that you're not their type or they're looking for something different, then you should not be mad at them. You should thank them for being honest and upfront with you and not wasting your time and letting you go on to find somebody that you are the type of. And believe me, there are so many different types of people out there, and you really have to find somebody on the same wavelength as you. That's why a lot of these relationships don't work, because they're purely physical, and people figure that out. So don't get down on yourself. Keep swiping right. Keep swiping left. Keep approaching ladies at the bar, at the mall, in church, at the Pokemon tournaments. Do people still play that Pokemon Go game, or did that kind of die off? I know the VR thing is big now. I'm loving VR. But beware, don't do that virtual reality pornography. That is too intense. When I did that, I felt like I had sinned against God. I felt like that was on a whole nother level. Like I was inside of... it felt too close to being real. And there was everything everywhere, and you could turn in different directions and see different parts and stuff like that. My God, I am traumatized. I feel as if my innocence has been taken from me. And I'm scared because I see the whole human race getting addicted to this and being like unable to even escape the VR world where you can just have infinite, endless pleasures and anything is possible, and you can go anywhere and be anywhere anytime that you want. It's scary. It is. in the fact that they're obviously gonna use the human sexuality and that drive to reproduce to get people to just totally go into that whole thing. And you're gonna see like VR headsets and a big robot Kim Kardashian rubber butts and different sorts of attachments and things like that. It's gonna be disgusting. Well, I just hope they develop some better games. I like the ones that they've come out with so far, but I want them to really come out with like the virtual reality Shenmue or something like that, where it's just totally 3D and you have RPG elements and you can just walk up and punch people in the face and stuff like that. You can peer around corners and play video games inside of little stores. Yeah, I'm a gamer. I like to play video games. I don't talk about it all the time on the show because I know not everybody's into that, and we like to talk about paranormal most of the time. And we like to talk about this global awakening and things like that, but there's time for fun too, and there's time for video games. And you're not a horrible human being if you enjoy playing video games and you spend a lot of time playing video games. It's not a waste of time. I don't think so, because it's your entertainment. You should have balance in your life. If you're playing them 24/7 and you're not working and that's your only life or only thing that you do in life, then yeah, you need to diversify. That's all. It's no big deal. You just need to mix some other things in there and you'll be fine. I know that video games can be addicting, but I think that's good. It means that they're fun. And things that are fun are addicting. And as long as it's not killing you like cigarettes or dangerous sporting things, then I see nothing wrong with it. And I see things wrong with a lot of things. But I think I've said enough for tonight. I did have a few more topics to get to, but I only have so much gas in the tank and I am getting far too tired. I apologize to all of those out there that I might offend with my beliefs and my opinions. It's a good thing that I really don't care what you think and that your opinions fall off me like the little wisps of nothing that they are. No, I'm just kidding, you guys. I love you all. I love hearing your thoughts on the show. I love hearing your opinions. Keep hitting me up on that Twitter. Keep sending me those emails. Join the forum. And we will continue to rage into the night on this black ship. This black ship. I am the captain of this black ship as we head into the void. I sit upon this pilot's chair with my crew. One of them which is a Klingon. He is a Klingon. And he likes to fight people. So don't piss him off. But that's it, guys. This is the end of days. I'm Daniel. Join us next week. We will be back here once again. That is January 31st, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, talking to another local comic, Monica Nevi. Or Nevi, we'll find out. And we'll keep it going. I've got a lot of potentials that I'm talking to that might be coming on, and we're gonna make it happen, and we're gonna keep it going, and we're gonna have a lot of fun with this, and we'll also be bringing on some pretty cool paranormal guests soon too, because there's a lot going on in that field as well. So stay tuned. I'm gonna live up to my promise of getting this show back up to 2 episodes per week. It's gonna be very difficult, but I'm gonna have to just awaken that lion's roar inside of my heart and do it. Just do it. Like the Nike stuff. Just do it. Because I know that this is the path. This is the path to everlasting freedom. Because I know the truth, all of you out there. I've seen the light. A lot of people think money is the best thing because money gives you power, and power is really the best thing, but it's not. Because power is just more responsibility. Unless you want to be a piece of shit, in which case you're just a tyrant. But the more power you get, the more responsibility that you'll have. And the truth is, real happiness is freedom. It's freedom. That's what is happiness. It's freedom. And the more freedom you have, the happier that you are. And that is the truth, my friends. Remember to go to endofdaysradio.com. Remember to follow me on the Twitter at Ninja Shoes. Remember to email me at daniel@endofdaysradio@gmail.com. And if you don't mind, please donate to the show. Go to endofdaysradio.com and click that donate button. It helps keep this show what it is. It helps pay the bills, pay the server costs, and things of that nature. So I appreciate that. It's always very motivating, of course, when you guys tip me. You throw me $5, $10, because I can buy myself a beer and think about you, the fans. Or I might contribute it to buying some new piece of equipment for the show. Or I might use it to buy a new microphone. Actually, I've got a great microphone now, but point being that all of your donations go back into the show. I always use them to upgrade, make things better, make it so that I can do the show more seamlessly. So thank you all for donating, and all of you that have donated throughout the years. Please don't think that I don't think of all of you guys, and I don't remember every single donation and every single one of you that love this show and give me that feedback. And I do this for you guys. It's dawned on me that this show is about you guys. It's about the listeners. First and foremost, it's about you guys. The mission is important, and the mission is what this show is about, but above all else, it's about you guys. It's about the audience. Because you are what makes my world turn, baby. You are what keeps me moving and what keeps me motivated, because I know all of you out there are addicted to this show and you love it. And I got to keep you satisfied and fed, and that's reason enough for existing. I'm like the Alfred to your Bruce Wayne. I'm just there for you. I'm there for you. Okay, you guys, are you ready? Are you ready to hear the premiere of the new hit single from Todd and his cousin Eric? Are you ready to hear the new End of Days outro? 2018. Let's hit it, baby. Let's listen. This is new shit. This is End of Days Radio. This is 2018. You guys are going to hear the new song, the new outro. You guys are going to hear it. I'm hyping it up. You're going to hear it. And then I will see you guys next time. I will talk to you next time. I mean, you never see me, right? Maybe you will see me one day. You never know. I'll come to your house. Here we go. Okay. Sorry. I need to... It didn't pop up right away. There we go.
All is not lost, but
Fuck yeah.